I knew that countdown was going to happen again. Hello.
Hello, Facebook and Dental Speakers Bureau. Thank you for joining us tonight with Dental Speaker Bureau Live. I'm super excited to be here with our friend Elijah Desmond, which I think probably many of you know. So we want to make sure that we're live. If you're out here watching, if you could just post in the comments, hello, we see you, we're here, something to let us know that you're out there. And let me tell you a little bit about Elijah before we get started. Elijah actually began his career as a speaker when he was 15 as a motivational speaker, which is pretty darn impressive. And many of us know Elijah for some of the things he does in the industry, such as his Smiles at Sea cruises. And most of us are probably already members of his Trapped in an Op, his amazingly popular Facebook page. And Elijah is involved in a lot of things. I think he's more of a serial entrepreneur, has multiple businesses, has had many in his lifetime. And we've invited him here tonight to share with us a little bit about some of the opportunities for dental speakers that Elijah can bring your way. So before we dive into that, Elijah, does it look like we are going live here on Facebook? I've not seen any. We've got 2 viewers, it looks like here. I don't see any comments yet, but I think we must be good. What do you think?
We are live, and it's going to pick up. Right now we're at 2, but I anticipate it being a lot higher.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Let's see those numbers for you. Awesome. Well, let's get started. So one thing I wanted to ask you about is this Dental Hub 360. I've been seeing that everywhere. I'm a little bit fuzzy. It feels like it's a pretty big offering with multiple wonderful opportunities for dental professionals. Could you start us out by telling us more about Dental Hub 360?
Absolutely. To start, Dental Hub 360 was created by 4 people that have big social media groups. So there's Dr. Anessa Holmes, Dr. Glenn Vo, and Dr. Chris Hoffpower. And we all have these really big Facebook groups. And we thought, like, we wish that we could bring them all together and become one. And so what we did was we created the social network for dentistry called Dental Hub 360. And so on Dental Hub 360, in short, we have a dental marketplace. We have a place for free resources. We have a place where there's podcasts that you can stream live on. And then we also have an education center. And on the education center, we are actually looking for people to provide 1-hour CEs, so 50 to 60-minute CEs. Something that's extremely important to understand is that whenever we do get these speakers on board, what we will do is we will promote them to our 90,000 members that we have within our groups and send traffic there. Oftentimes nowadays, people go and get CE to learn more than they do to actually get the CE. And so we actually allow people to learn for free, to educate themselves for free. And we actually promote the speakers by putting their email and their link to their business, whether it's a speaking business or a consulting business or a product. And we put a link down there so they can click on it and essentially take in the information.
So this is an opportunity for speakers to bring you already recorded webinars, or how do they go about technically doing this? Do they record it with you?
Absolutely. So no, they can record it by themselves just by doing a Zoom conference or any kind of or a Loom, anything that they could record their presentation and themselves on at the same time. And then they just send it over to us. It's pretty easy. But we are currently looking for people to contribute to the CEs that we are putting on Dental Hub 360. And like I said, it's a learning platform. So people don't have to purchase a CE. They can just watch it and obtain the valuable information that all the speakers have. And it's also a place for meeting planners to go and essentially look and find speakers as well and see them in a 1-hour setting.
Are you looking for specific topics, or is it something where if someone's interested, they should just contact you to find out if you already are saturated in that topic, or how does that work?
The really cool thing is we're just recently opening the doors. So any topic goes as long as it's not a sales pitch. So as long as you're bringing value, pretty much anything will go. So It could be anything from, how are you placing crowns properly in 2018, to marketing, to consulting, to sleep apnea. I mean, anything you can think of that will qualify as a CE.
I have a little bit of experience with the speakers that I work with who might want to create and do their own online CE. And we found that it's challenging when you're the little guy. If you're not somebody who has a great big repository for a lot of online CE courses, it's hard to drive traffic. It's a continual effort to drive traffic there. And when prices are so low, it's not a good option for many speakers, in my opinion, to try to do it on their own unless they have something that's really super unique where they can drive the traffic there. So what I love about your offering is, I would call it a showcase. Many of our listeners know Mark LeBlanc. He's my business coach. He's many of our business coaches, and he would call it a showcase opportunity, I believe. And the idea behind that is, even though it's a no-fee opportunity, it puts you out there as that thought leader. I think that could be a really great opportunity for many of our presenters to sit down in front of their Zoom camera and create an hour's worth of content, and then potentially be able to spin off consulting or speaking opportunities from that. So I see that as being a really a high quality activity.
Absolutely. I am, and you introduced me as a serial entrepreneur. So I am a serial entrepreneur. You are right. And I work with a lot of people on the business end of things. And I feel that if you are speaking in our dental world and you have a product or a service, there's no better platform than the stage to help promote that. And so essentially, I feel that if you're adding massive value on a regular basis through your speeches, you don't even have to sell. You don't have to. People want more, essentially. So if you're giving them 50 minutes of value, now they can contact you below for more information. So that's how we're doing that.
Right. One of the things I've often said is that you can tell if your presentation is where it needs to be as far as its delivery and its content by being able to spin off business each time you speak. And this would be another great example.
Yes.
Well, I've got our email scrolling across the screen here. ce@dentalhub360.com is where we should email you then to find out more, Elijah?
Yes, absolutely. They can email ce@dentalhub360.com. And we also have the details on Dental Hub 360 on how they can submit their course. But if they just email ce@dentalhub360.com, we will get right back to them and get their site live and then promote it amongst all of our groups.
That sounds really great. And what we can do is put in our comments later the exact link for that page on Dental Hub 360 where they can go to find out more details. So we'll get that for you guys here when we're done. So let's move on then. Was there anything more on Dental Hub 360 before we hop over to cruises?
No, that's it.
Well, Elijah, that's how you and I met back in the day, a couple of years back, I think now, where you were working on Smiles at Sea, and we had been introduced to each other. And I've seen so many of our colleagues be involved now with your Smiles at Sea cruises. Can you tell us more about that, and what is the opportunity for the dental speaker?
Absolutely. Let's show that. How about showing that? Oh, there we go. How do we speak on the cruise? Well, first off, let me tell you a little background on Smiles at Sea, and then I'll tell you how to speak on it. So I'll tell you, being newer in the industry, and when you come super strong with something as loud as Smiles at Sea, a lot of people are like, well, what is it? How does it work? And why did you create it? First off, I will tell you, I believe we have the most fun continuing education event. And yes, it is surrounded around education. I feel that we bring some of the top educators in the world on our cruises, first and foremost. However, I will tell you this. If you do not like to have fun, you probably should stay on dry land. We have a really good time. And I'll tell you what happens is the really good times, those relationships are formed during those good times. If you can think of camp back when you were a kid, you have those friends. They're like your best friends forever. It's like an adult camp. And I've really grown to absolutely love the event. It's my own business, so I should. But many of us have businesses where it's like, man, I don't even know if I like this. It's not enjoyable to me. I love what I do. So I'm building relationships and creating them for long-term relationships for the speakers. So with that, since most people like to have fun, I've gotten this situation where I have over 200 speakers reach out to me and for just one event. And it's very difficult for me to say no to that many people. So before, I used to just go and I would scout at events to go and pick my speakers. And I do a little bit of scouting at some speaker workshops, but for the most part, I have figured out how to do it on my terms. So what does that mean? I've created an event called Dentistry's Got Talent. So Dentistry's Got Talent is an event where it's a Facebook Live event. Typically, you will see anywhere from a minimum of 200 up over 500 people listening at any given time. And what's happening is I provide an opportunity for these speakers to speak for 10 minutes at a time. And the speakers that speak for 10 minutes at a time, they are competing. And so this year on September the 12th, I have 26 speakers that are competing. And this is the speakers that applied for Dentistry's Got Talent. There was over 100 speakers this year. I had to narrow it down to 26. They speak for 10 minutes at a time. And after they speak for their 10 minutes, there's judges. So the Facebook viewers, they're a judge that they vote and they get 2 people into the finals. And then the judges that are on stage, we pick 2 people that make it to the finals. So in total, there's 4 people that make it to the finals. And then there's the final round. Everyone then speaks for 5 minutes to see who wins Dentistry's Got Talent. Now, here's the cool thing. All these people say, man, I'm the best speaker and I need to speak on your cruise. And so here's what I say. I put the ball in their court. Well, if you're the best speaker, you win Dentistry's Got Talent, and then we'll put you on the cruise ship. And so the winner gets to be on the next year's Smiles at Sea cruise. And we can go to Cuba.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. The steps involved. And I think I've seen on Facebook Live this competition, and I think you guys do it so well. It's really fun to watch. I love that we can watch it from wherever and be involved, even if we're not able to physically be there. Congratulations on that. I think it was a brilliant idea, and you really created a buzz in the industry.
Thank you. It's been really fun. It would take about 20 years to be seen by, we'll just say, 20,000 people. Now what's happening is 10 minutes, you can reach literally thousands of people in a 10-minute time. So it's a platform for speakers to really get out there. And you can't look at it as a competition. It is a competition. It's Dentistry's Got Talent. But I'll tell you, the people that are there, they become family. And they support one another. They're lifetime friends. And you have sponsors that we bring specifically to scout speakers, to obtain new KOLs. They're watching on their phone and they're at the event. After the event, we have a networking reception with the companies and the speakers. But before we get into the value of that, let me go ahead and say, what does a full contract mean if you win? What does that exactly mean for a speaker? So what that means is for my speakers on the cruise, I pay for their airfare and for their cruise, but I pay for their cruise for 2 people, not just one. Oh. I pay for the hotel the night before as well. We treat our speakers very well, but here's the thing. We're not asking you to speak for an entire day or a half day. We want you to speak for 1 hour. So what you're doing is you're trading your time for a vacation, essentially. And so so we don't pay our speakers a fee for that. Now, here's something that I heard a lot in the industry. Man, well, if I'm going to travel across the country, I need a speaker's fee. So it's not for everyone, and I'm totally okay with that. If you don't like to do a vacation and speak for an hour, I'm okay with it. But I figured, you know what? I need to figure out something so that these speakers can be paid as well. So what I did is I have created private team retreats. These are international retreats. And I will explain a little bit about those. So first off, each and every day, I have between 200 and 300 visitors that go to my Smiles at Sea website. When they go on my Smiles at Sea website, there's a button that says Private Team Retreats. They can click on Private Team Retreats, fill out their information. Right now, we're in the process of rebuilding our website. It'll be done within 2 weeks. And what will happen is when they go to Private Team Retreats, what happens normally is they say, well, Elijah, when are you going to go to Aruba? I'm saying, well, sorry, we're not going to Aruba anytime soon. Elijah, when are you going to do a European river cruise? Sorry, we're not doing a European river cruise. Well, Elijah, when are you going to go to Australia? Or when are you going to go to Hawaii? Well, here's what I said. I have been saying is, I'm sorry, unfortunately, we are not doing any of those events in the near future. However, we have 2 events a year, and feel free to check back to the website. So I put 2 and 2 together. If I have 2 to 3 people messaging me every day saying they want to go to a place we're not going, or they want to do a 7-day, European cruise, something we're not doing, well, I need a solution. So the solution was Private Team Retreats. So now the question is who gets to be a speaker for the Private Team Retreats? So here's what happens. They go to the website, they pick their destination, wherever it is in the world, they pick the dates of their destination, and after they pick the dates of their destination, they're going to pick their speaker. So you will go as a speaker, and whether it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 days, you will be paid accordingly. The chart is 3 to 7 days. So there's tiers for each one. So the speaker will have their entire trip paid for, whether it's Australia, Europe, wherever, plus they will make an additional $3,000 to $6,000 on top of that. So their requirement will be to speak anywhere between 6 and 12 hours to a small group. So the Private Team Retreats ideally would be between 6 people and maximum 40. Some teams are really big. And you just essentially get to provide the CE. Now, here's the cool thing. We provide the CE. We accredit the CE. We plan the entire trip out from the time that the speaker and the attendees walk out their door to every single event at the all-inclusive resort or the cruise, whatever it may be. We plan everything. All the speaker has to do is show up, and I'm going to tell you what. To me, this was an ideal thing, right? Like 2-3 years ago, when I was really heavy into speaking in dentistry, if this would have been in existence, I would have been all over it. By the way, if you're watching this right now and you would love to do a private team retreat, type in the comments below, private team retreat, private team retreat. So everybody wants to know, well, how do I get on that list? How do I become one of the speakers for a private team retreat? Well, it's really easy. You go to Dentistry's Got Talent and you make the Final 4.
Ah.
If you can make the Final 4 in Dentistry's Got Talent, you will be put officially on our website, and they will get to choose you as one of the speakers. And so that is how I will get the speakers from now on. See, it's extremely difficult for some of us to have been speaking for years in this industry. I personally have been speaking for, I say, 15 or 16 years now. Now, all my time is not in dentistry. It's in the high schools and middle schools and colleges, but I've been speaking for 15 or 16 years. And at first, it's kind of difficult to digest. You want me to compete, and I've been speaking for 10 years. Many of you would say, oh, well, I'm past that. So I would encourage you to step out of that box and say, okay, well, I'm going to be speaking with a lot of other great speakers, and the judges, they can't say anything bad about me. It's all uplifting. And I'm going to be put in front of thousands of people. I'm going to be given that platform. And oh, by the way, I'm actually looking for sponsors. I would really like to have some sponsors. Well, great. We have 20 plus companies that are scouting, looking for KOLs in our industry. And we just put them together. Here's a really cool thing. After that event happens on land, before we get on the cruise ship, there's a networking event where the speakers and the vendors, they meet one another. And then you go on the cruise ship. And on the cruise ship, you get to build those long-term relationships on the cruise. And so for those of you who are on the edge thinking, I don't know if this was for me or not, I'm going to tell you it's not for everybody. However, There's so many people that this is for. So how do you do it? How do you enter? Well, first off, please make sure to watch Dentistry's Got Talent to see what it's all about this September the 12th from 12 o'clock until 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. And then if you are interested in becoming a speaker on Dentistry's Got Talent next year, if you want to save the date, it's October 17th and 18th of 2019. And that's where we'll have our next round of speakers. And I'll also tell you this, if you don't want to wait that long, join us on a cruise. Listen, just because you're not speaking at the event doesn't mean you can't go and network and get just as much out of it. And so I would encourage you to join us at the event. Cuba's March the 7th to the 11th. That'll be the next cruise. Unless you're really spontaneous, you get on this cruise this September on the 13th. But anyways, I encourage you to come and join us for this, and also bring your A game. Vanessa, can you, while we're on here, can you tell them about the opportunities that you have in January, so they can bring their A game?
And I hear a little feedback. We got that. There we go. But let me ask you a quick question before we talk about that. So when we want to watch Dentistry's Got Talent, where do we go on Facebook? Is there a Dentistry's Got Talent page, or where do we go to watch that in September?
Smiles at Sea. That Facebook page is where it will be.
That page. Very good. And we could probably put a link in our comments here as well. And for the speaker who might want to find out more about signing up for that competition, or to get with you in regards to any of these opportunities, I'm running the smilesatc.com email here to be able to reach out to you. And I just want to add on to your comments around the competition and whether you've been speaking for a year or 30. I wholeheartedly agree with Elijah that this is an opportunity, whether you win or not. This is such a great opportunity for exposure. Facebook offers our dental speakers so many opportunities to be out there and be seen as a thought leader and to get out there and share your message. And that is such a good use of time. So similarly, we will be having a competition and a showcase at our event in January, Jumpstart 2019. Dental Speaker Institute is the name of the Facebook page and the name of the organization. And I'm excited that Elijah will be there scouting speakers as well in January. That's January 3rd through 5th in Chandler. So Elijah, that's a lot of great opportunities for speakers. I'm super excited we were able to bring you here to share. I can imagine that our listeners are going to be really excited to reaching out to you on multiple. And I really love this team retreat idea. And I love that it's a funnel, that you have to be a high-rated speaker through your competition before you even be considered. And that's a real incentive for individuals. And I would encourage your participants on your competition to get coaching before they do the competition. There's so many different speaker development coaches. Multiple are associated with Dental Speaker Institute as faculty. And we have some really great speaking coaches here in dentistry to be able to help you pick up your A game before you go live on Facebook.
Yes, absolutely. I highly recommend that. You know, there are some people who come in and they don't have coaching. And there are some people that are repeat speakers on Dentistry's Got Talent. And whenever they go and get coaching and then come back, it is an entire different situation. And if I had to coin one word around the different situation, that's confidence. I watch these speakers get to the stage and they have tremendous confidence. And I'm going to tell you the reason for confidence is being prepared. So if you don't feel that you are prepared enough and you don't have the confidence, I would highly recommend that you get a coach. Also, I'll tell you this. You can never be too good to get a coach. Michael Jordan, he always had a coach. Michael Jackson had a coach, right? Any famous Garth Brooks, he has a coach. So there's unlimited amounts of people that you will see out there that are successful. They all have people that take them to the next level. And I think that's extremely important to understand. Now, I'll tell you what I'm looking for whenever I am essentially getting the speakers for Dentistry's Got Talent. So the first thing that I'm looking for is personality. It's personality. And I feel like if you can send a 1-minute video, by the way, I should have said this, you need to send a 1-minute video on who you are. So my name is Elijah Desmond, and I'm a motivational speaker. My topic will be emotional intelligence. And I think you should pick me as a speaker because I'm going to win that event. And I love Smiles at Sea, right? So that's an example of what the 1-minute video would look like. So you say your name, where you're from, what you're speaking on, and why we should pick you. So when we are, as a team, when we're watching all of these videos and trying to pick it out who we're going to have speak, we're looking for personality. That is number one. The second thing is make sure you read all directions. So if you reach out to us and we send you a PDF, on the bottom of the PDF, it will say something like, submit a video to this email address. If you reach out to that email address and you say, how do I become a speaker? That's a way not to get picked.
Right. That happens a lot, I bet, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyhow, that's how you enter. I'm super excited. We're changing the industry. We're giving people a platform. We're giving people a voice. I'll tell you what, coming up as a speaker in this dental industry, it's not easy. It is not easy. I was fortunate enough to get took under the wings of a couple of people that have been around a long time and given some really good opportunities. I've seen it was easier for me, and I watched people struggle coming into the speaking world. And so I sought out to, I will always support and respect people that have been around a long time. I will. However, I am also for the underdog, and I'm for the new people as well. So this is for new people that want to get into speaking and people that have been there for a long time. But I'll make it really clear. Hey, listen, I don't care if you've been speaking for 30 years or it's your first speech. I'm going to look at you the exact same way. And I think it's very important to understand that it's a judgment-free zone. And we're here to elevate speakers regardless of how long you've been around. And we're here to create a family. And so, no judgments, knock down all of those barriers that you have in your head of, should I do it, shouldn't I, or am I good enough? No, you're good enough. Make it reflect on that video.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Elijah, thank you. Now, before we sign off today, is there a one-line, bottom line, or anything that we haven't covered that you want to be sure we cover?
Oh, man. I don't think that there's anything. I don't think there's anything that we did not cover. If anybody has any questions, you can type them in the comments below, and I'll make sure to respond to them and come back and check for this. But I think that's it. But you know what? Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and essentially to provide a platform for your speakers. I really appreciate you.
Oh, well, we appreciate all of the information. And for our viewers, can you share with us a couple of you have multiple Facebook pages. I know you have Trapped in an Op. I believe you have one called Dental Speakers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, what am I missing? We've got Smiles at Sea.
Smiles at Sea is my Facebook page. Smiles at Sea group is my Facebook group. Trapped in an Op is another Facebook group. Mm-hmm. And then Dental Speakers is another Facebook group. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, there are. And then we have Dental Hub 360, I think, too, right?
Dental Hub 360 is a Facebook page that you could like, but not a group.
Okay. Very good. So we have multiple ways to follow you and find out about more of these opportunities. And thank you so much again, Elijah, for being here. It was Smile at smilesatc.com, and our other was CE at dentalhub360.com, our two different emails for these different opportunities.
Correct.
So generous of you. Thank you for being someone who is helping to shape our dental industry and providing opportunities for our speakers. It's been a blast to spend this time with you tonight. And thank you all for listening in. We look forward to seeing your comments. If you have any questions, do feel free to reach out. If you'd like to reach out to me, info@dentalspeakersbureau.com. I'm Vanessa Emerson here with Elijah Desmond. And thanks again. And everyone have a great evening.
Thank you.